Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Tim Hart, branch manager of VanDyk Mortgage here in Fort Myers. Welcome to an episode of the HartBeat for Realtors Podcast. Today, I got with me a friend of ours from Fidelity National Title. We got a chance to speak with him a couple of times and listen to his webinars, which are always awesome. Bill Risser's with us today. Bill, how you doing, sir?
I'm great, Tim. Thank you so much for having me on the show. I really appreciate it.
Yeah. Well, you're a pro, man. We got to have nothing but pros on here, you know?
Yeah, well, I don't know about the pro part. I experienced. We'll go with that. How's that?
Experience. Yeah. Experience.
I like that better.
Hey, so Bill, we do this for realtors anywhere, but I'm here in Southwest Florida, and that's where the bulk of our business is at. And you got a pretty cool topic we're going to cover today, and I want to get into it. We're going to be covering podcasting, right?
Yeah. Look, I mean, you're doing a great job with yours. I think it's definitely become a hotter topic in the last, I'd say, couple years. Wouldn't you agree?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of come to the forefront in our space, and there are lots of people doing it. So I thought it'd be a fun conversation to have to talk about maybe the start of mine and how that happened, and then also what does it look like for a realtor? How could a realtor kind of turn this into an opportunity to build relationships? Because ultimately, that's what we're both trying to do, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is, I got turned on to podcast a few years ago, and I mean, the one thing is you find out, like, people think, this is going to be on video too, right? So we have it on video, but we'll convert it to audio as well. And the audio version of things, in this time frame of, like, everyone's busy, you're driving, you're doing whatever, like, to be able to, or working out, walking the dog, to be able to listen in on topics that maybe you want to learn about or that you're interested in during these downtimes is unreal, and is so much better, no offense to my DJ friends, than listening to terrestrial radio, AM, FM stuff. And and the one thing to think about before we get into this, though, is everyone needs to understand these are 24-hour, 7-day-a-week commercials that are sitting there for your customers to find. So I hope they listen to you, Bill, and I'm sure you got some great ideas.
Yeah, realtors have so much windshield time, right? It's just amazing how much they're out and about, even in this, where the situation we're in today, that they should spend that time learning. And there are so many great podcasts, whether it's on marketing or branding or very specific real estate related topics. There's so much information you could be soaking up, through that time. And like you said, so many other people are doing it. And I'll tell you my little secret. I'll find somebody that puts out a video show, much like you're doing here today, but they don't, take the audio and put it onto a podcast for me. I'll just queue up the YouTube video, right? But I don't need to watch it. I mean, no offense to either one of us, I guess, but no one needs to watch us talking. Absolutely. I can just listen to the YouTube channel. Mm-hmm. And I do that a lot when I drive. When I find something very interesting, if it's an interview or a panel, I just put it on through the speakers and just listen. And it's been a wonderful way for me to kind of stay on top of what's happening and stay in the know. So real quick, I'll try to give you the really quick birth of my podcast, the Real Estate Sessions. I started it in August of 2015. And there weren't a lot of podcasts at the time in the real estate space. There were a few. Pat Hibben, his Real Estate Rockstars, was out there. He's got a really big show. And I said, I can do this. And I listened to a couple podcasts where people were interviewed. And I have always been very curious about people. I love finding out where people come from, and almost to a fault. Like, if I meet somebody at an event, if my wife's there, she'll finally have to nudge me, go, would you stop asking them questions and let them ask a few, because if I find out someone's a beekeeper, I'm going down a path about beekeepers. Or if I find out somebody's, grew up in, I don't know, Toronto, then I got a ton of questions about Canada and Toronto. So that really played nicely into the way I do my podcast. And much like yours, I like to have people on. I like to interview them and talk to them. And what this has done over the years is I'm now 253 episodes in. And that's 253 people that I've built a relationship with, because I had to, I always send out questions in advance, and we have this little conversation, and then we stay connected. And it's really helped me, grow my business. Not in I don't monetize my podcast. I probably never will. I think that what I get out of the podcast is the ability to connect. And and to be a connector at the same time. Like if you said to me, man, I wish I knew some realtor who was doing something in this thing, I'd go, I know a guy in California, or I know a guy in Arizona, right? And then I could hook the two of you up, right? So you could have a conversation. I think there's some power there. And same thing for realtors. You're not doing a podcast to monetize it and get millions of downloads. What you're doing is trying to deliver information that people are looking for. Not only looking for, but I want to make sure it's the people that you want to work with are looking for. How's that sound, right? If you love working with first-time home buyers, or if you're like the renovation expert, or if you're a big downsizing, person, you help people, transition later in life, a podcast about that topic could be huge, right? If you live in Cape Coral or Fort Myers and you love your community and you're a part of that community, something really specific about Cape Coral where you're getting involved, talking to leadership. I always go to they have the big what's going on in Cape Coral night. I can't remember what it's called. It shows you, what the developers are doing and businesses coming in, and it's really a fun night. You could be creating content around those topics year round, right? And really start developing an audience of people that live in Cape Coral. So my take is, when it comes to podcasting, the first thing you have to do is you got to find something you're passionate about. If you're not passionate about it, it's going to become a chore. And when it becomes a chore, it's really easy just to go, I'm not going to do that anymore.
Right.
So yeah. So for me, my ability to find out about people, like, later this evening, as we record this episode, I'm going to be recording my podcast with Jackie Soto, who is an agent in Chino, California. She has one of the quickest wits. She's built an amazing brokerage, all as a single mom with 3 kids. I have a ton of questions for Jackie. I can't wait to talk to her, right? So that's going to be, for me, that's my style. But you don't have to do that. Very successful podcasts out there in the real estate space are simply monologue style, where it's someone just talking for anywhere from 5 to 30, sometimes an hour. That I think that's too much. But having this conversation about a particular topic. There's a podcast I always love to drive people to when they are thinking about doing it as a realtor. And the woman's name is Marguerite Martin, and she is in Portland, she's in Tacoma, right? She currently is in Portland because she's doing like a sabbatical up there. But let me explain to you how she gets to do sabbaticals. So she was an agent in Tacoma, Washington, and she created a blog called movetotacoma.com. Great name, right? And she was putting content out there regularly in blog format and actually getting some traction with her blog. Then she stepped it up and created the Move to Tacoma podcast. So that podcast can be found on the blog. It's also standalone wherever you find podcasts. And she started interviewing, local leaders, different people who have done great things in the community, and just built this site and this podcast up to such a level that she now doesn't sell real estate anymore in Tacoma. She has 6, 7, 8 agents that are in kind of her little referral network. She knows she's a matchmaker. She gets leads through this site still. She still creates content. Leads are coming in, and she's simply then referring them to one of her partners based on what she knows about that person. In the little interview she has, she assigns them to an agent who then closes the deal, takes a referral. She takes her referral fee, and away we go. It's pretty impressive that she's been able to build this. So I think if you're trying to build a business, having a way to continually, capture people's attention, have them reach out to you because you're perceived as, or really you are the expert on the thing they're looking to do, which is moving to Tacoma, right? I think that's a powerful tool. So I always love to shout out to Marguerite. She's just really impressive. And everyone can go check it out. It's all
shout
online.
out to Marguerite.
Yeah. She's amazing. So
cool.
She's good.
A question on that topic. So you said passionate about, so like if you're a realtor, do you recommend them strictly doing just like real estate or things about the town? Like what if they're really into gardening? Like
sure.
what would you tell someone like that, where it's like, man, I like real estate, it's my job and stuff, but I want to get my brand out there and maybe just pick another topic, or what do you think about that?
Yeah, look, I'm a huge fan of, once again, go back to your passions.
Yeah.
So if you love gardening or you love cars, I don't care what it is. and you build the podcast around that thing you love, you will attract an audience. I think one thing a realtor has to be sort of aware of is, your business is going to be in your area, your community. So you want to tie that passion back to Southwest Florida in some way, shape, or form, especially the gardening side. You could do that easily. I mean, there are plenty of people who are thinking of coming here or live here already in Florida, and they have no clue about what's going to happen. What are the types of foliage you're going to see, right? I mean, I came from Phoenix. So there's some stuff here that I'm like, what is that, right? So I think that there's a way to create that content that builds this audience of like-minded people. And of course you're a realtor, right? So I think it would be really easy. I would just simply have the realtor, maybe it's brought to you by, XYZ Realty. Yeah.
Or you're able to leverage, your love of cars or gardening or, whatever we're talking about, into your own sphere of influence with, tied into a Facebook group now. And, these people are all here in Southwest Florida, and you're the one running the show, but you're also the realtor. It's
a great point, Tim. It's a lot of work, but it can be done. I think. Yeah,
that's definitely a long play right there.
Yeah. Do you have a short play for getting leads?
Never.
Never. Yeah. I think people try to sell that all the time. There's no. That's just not possible. And so if I was going to create content based on what I do, I'm absolutely going to do a little bit of digging and figure out what are people looking for about this topic that I want to be talking about? What kind of questions are being asked online? And that's all doable in the world of Google. And then I'm going to answer those questions. Yeah. I mean, some of the great things about podcasts now is Google is crawling through podcasts. And so they're going to start, indexing podcasts if they answer the question people are Googling for. And even for mine, if you Google my name, it pulls up the podcast site, and last 3 episodes are in the Google search. That's amazing, right? So it's got a lot of power, a lot of juice. I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and it's getting easier and easier. So Tim, I don't know where you podcast from, but I mean, places like Anchor and Buzzsprout, Captivate.fm, they really walk you through the whole process about how do you set up a podcast, and how do you get it on Apple Podcasts, and how do you get it on Google Podcasts. It sounds complicated. It's just a little bit of work and following some instructions, and in no time you can have a pretty big distribution network.
Yeah, we use and still use Anchor, and Anchor is basically, it reminds me of like Hootsuite, for podcasts. You upload it into Anchor and it shoots it right out and sets up your accounts for Spotify, Google, iTunes, and Stitcher, and a lot of other ones. And man, is that way easier. You do a one and done, and it's not that complicated, man, like you said.
Yeah. It's I think the most difficult part about starting a podcast is the most difficult part of everything in just about all aspects of life. And that's just being consistent, committing.
First word I was thinking of.
You knew it was coming, right? Yeah. Committing and being consistent, even when there's only 12 downloads on the first 4 episodes. Just keep doing it. It is what it is. And now some of these sites, you just mentioned Anchor, and I said Captivate and some others, they'll even have ideas for promoting, right? They'll talk to you about some of the things you should be doing, right, to get the word out about your show. And so pay attention to what those podcast hosting sites are putting out there for their users.
But you mentioned the downloads and stuff and views, and maybe I'm a little, I don't know if I'm contrarian on this or not, but like I know views and downloads matter. Your content's maybe more engaging and people are watching and stuff, but we find that just the impression of me putting this out, to agents or to our database for whatever we're doing, whether they watch it or listen or not, hey, Tim's hustling, Bill's hustling, that realtor is working. They may or may not listen, but they're seeing you. And it's just another impression of this person's serious, or this person is a professional. And sometimes people get a little too caught up in like, oh, I only got 27 views on this thing or whatever, I think it's the impression, and you said it, man, the consistency of doing it, whether it's video or this.
Yeah. And look, if you're consistent and you do the work, and you're passionate about the project, that I love what you say. I love the fact that people know you're all in the business, and that's
Yeah,
great.
right.
But those other metrics come with just being consistent. They just
Mhm.
come along with it. So don't, I hate it when people stop after 5. You can't stop after 5 anything in our
Like
world.
five videos or something, 5
Yeah,
episodes.
5 videos in, and they're like, the YouTube channel's not
Yeah,
working. I'm like, are you kidding me? Let me know when you're at 50, and then I'll have a conversation with you. You got
right.
to be really committed to these kinds of tools. It's not the easiest. It's just not, it's set it and forget it. You got to do some work. And if you love sharing what you know, and if you love talking to people who know stuff, then this is a place you can hang. This is something you can do.
Yeah, and also, the outlook of, we're kind of jokingly talking about the long game with my one idea, but like, this is a long game. I'm in it for a long time. You are these agents that we're talking to, they're into it for a long time. And, you're looking 5, 6, 10, 15, 20 years down the road, you have this freaking library of content, and someone refers you, they hit you in Google, and they're going to find all this content for you.
I have about 140 hours of content sitting online right
you're
now
out
from
there,
my
man.
podcast. Yeah. So it's, you Google my name, it's coming up, and a lot of really, brilliant people have been on the show, and down to like a new agent who's just getting started, but was doing something really cool. So I think that's, for me, that's my passion. People in the industry, what are they doing? And it's worked out very well.
Well, do you find that one of the bigger sticking points for people is it, hey, I did it, now how do I edit it? Do you find the editing process to be the sticking point?
Yeah. So I love
recommendations
editing.
you got on that? Let them know.
Yeah, sure. So, just call Ashley in your office and have her edit it.
She's going to kill you, man.
Or hopefully she's going to cut that out. You can cut that out, Ashley. So I just had to do it.
We're leaving it.
My take is this. I love to edit. It's the weirdest thing. I love video editing. I love audio editing. It's my meditation. I love sitting down, and I use some pretty sophisticated tools because I record using a tool that gives me a separate audio track for each speaker. So I can mix and match a little bit. I can sweeten stuff. And I just get into a rhythm, and anyone who edits audio knows what I'm talking about. You can see, like, I cut out the ums and the ahs sometimes, if there's a lot of them, and I can see them coming as the timeline is coming through the editor. So I personally love it. But if you don't like it, there are resources out there. Fiverr.com. We talk about this a lot. Fiverr's amazing. Fiverr.com. You can hire somebody to edit your show, and you tell them what you want. Just give me the beginning, the end, cut out a couple of the weird noises, and you're good to go. My take, when it comes to the whole back end of the podcast is it doesn't have to be very complicated. You can make it very simple. I mean, there's an editing tool called Audacity, which is free, and it's very simple to edit audio. I use a tool called Auphonic, which is AUPHONIC. You upload your file to Auphonic, click a couple settings, and it tweaks the sound, equalizes it, makes it sound better, and sends it back to you in 10 minutes for $1 an hour. It's cheap. It's an amazing tool. So there's some really easy ways. You don't have to use Audition like I do, Adobe Audition, or all these other Squadcasts to record it. You can do exactly what we're doing here. Get on a Zoom or a Skype call, have a conversation, or share your message. Take the audio out, cut off the beginning and the end, put on a little intro, and you're ready to roll. It's pretty simple.
Gotcha. So what about money? How much does this cost someone to get started?
Let's see. I would say all in I want you to get a $45 or $50 microphone, although you could use your earbuds if you wanted to. I think you're going to need about a $20 hosting service max. So for well under $100 a month, $20 a month, and a one-time fee for a nicer microphone. That's it. That's all you need is a mic. You can do it into your phone. You can do it into your laptop. It doesn't matter. But a decent mic and a place that's going to host it for you. And there really are no other fees.
Yeah, I can't stress enough to anyone watching this. It's not about the money. It's about the time and you being consistent. And the other thing is, I see so many times where they're scared to put themselves out there, whether it's on video or audio. And I assure you, people like you in real life, okay? They're going to be okay with you on video, going to be okay with you on audio. Don't worry about it. Just go for it, and people will like hearing from you. And if they don't, at least they know you're trying, and they'll remember that you're working.
I love that. I love that philosophy. That's perfect, Tim.
Yeah. Well, hey, Bill, let's, do you got anything else to add about podcasting for realtors?
No, I mean, I would love for people to check out mine if I'm allowed to plug that.
Please,
So.
I was just going to say, how do they connect with you, sir?
Yeah. So look, if you just Google Bill Risser, it's Risser. I guess you can see that there if you're watching the video. Just hit me up on any of the social sites. My podcast is called The Real Estate Sessions. You can find it everywhere you find podcasts. It's also at therealestatesessions.com. And I put out new content every Tuesday morning at 4:30 Eastern. I don't know why I picked that 5 years ago, but I haven't changed since. And there's always a new episode out there. And recently, I've interviewed Scott Shapiro from Facebook, which was super fun. Stefan Swanepoel, who is the guy who creates the Swanepoel Report, he's a very interesting character and a brilliant guy. So, and if you go back through the catalog, there's a lot. Glenn Sanford from EXP. Adam Contos from Remax, and a lot of local Florida people as well. So.
Cool. Good job. You guys connect with Bill. He's always putting out cool content. What a good podcast name too, man. Real Estate Sessions. So guys, if you're a realtor and you're watching this and you want more content like this, I try to put it out a lot. Make sure you subscribe. iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google. And then also it's on video form, YouTube, Facebook. Don't know where you're watching this, but that's where we host them. Nice. And on our website at timhartjr.com. So everyone, I appreciate you watching this. Quick mortgage plug. Don't forget, 10% down buys you a vacation home here in Southwest Florida. 10% down. Mortgage insurance is super cheap on that one too. So call me anytime I can help you out. I'm going to give you my cell. That's how crazy I am. 239-910-5668. Thanks again for watching. Bill, appreciate you, buddy. Thanks, sir.
Thanks, Tim.
You got it, man. Appreciate it. Bye-bye, everybody.